I would say, I mean, talking from experience, I would say skincare.
Yeah, I would also say skincare. Well, why? I don't know. Maybe, well, if I'm speaking like for myself, I'd say like, oh, I'm going to classes every day. There's really not much time to put on makeup
True.
in the morning. So it's like more important to have like a good skincare routine. So that I don't actually have to use makeup in the mornings. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it also depends on where you are in life. If you're going to work every single day, you need to look nice. Then yeah, maybe makeup. But if you're just going to school, I mean, I don't personally do a makeup to go to school. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would say like when I was interning, maybe yeah, I was using makeup in the mornings, but in school,
then
no.
8 a.m. You just did. Yeah.
All right. My name is Tofunmi. I'm from Nigeria. I'm studying, or I'm currently getting my master's in robotics from Georgia Tech. I speak mostly English, but a bit of Yoruba. Yeah.
Okay. And hello, my name is Nadira. I'm from Niger, West Africa. So I speak French, of course, Hausa, Zarma, and English. And I'm currently going to Georgia Tech to get my PhD degree in robotics.
Nice. What languages? That's crazy.
Uh, to get to the US, first thing first of all, you need to get your baccalaureate. So the degree you get after high school, right? And then after that, for myself, I kind of took a gap year. It wasn't really gap year, but I would call it gap year. And then I applied to a school here in the US for undergraduate degree, where I did my 4 years. And because I was coming from a French-speaking country, of course, I had to learn English. So I did like a 3 month of language institute where I was learning like to perfection my English. And then I did my undergrad in engineering physics at the University of Central Arkansas and applied to Georgia Tech for the PhD program. How about you?
So I'd say like kind of similar process. I also took a gap year after high school or after secondary school, like we call it in Nigeria. And during my gap year, I think I was just kind of confused as to what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. And then eventually, like, I had some friends that were planning to go to the US. So my mom was like, oh yeah, maybe you should go to the US as well. There was this school that kind of helps you with preparing for SAT and TOEFL and stuff like that. So I went there for like 2-3 months. I wrote SAT and TOEFL, and then I applied to come to the US for my undergrad degree in biomedical engineering. So in 2018, I came to the US. I went to the University of Texas at Dallas, and I got my bachelor's degree in biomedical engineering. And then after that, I discovered that I was interested in robotics, like medical robots. So like robots that assist in surgery or like caregiving, stuff like that. So I wanted to get a master's in robotics. So I applied to Georgia Tech. And that process, I think, was relatively straightforward because I didn't have to write GRE or any other exams because I was already like here and I had good enough grades. So yeah, it was relatively easy to get into Georgia Tech from, after my bachelor's degree. So now I'm here.
So for Nigerians, do you still have to take the TOEFL and do SAT before coming to the US? Because I thought it was just for us, like non-English speaking country.
So we had to do SAT for TOEFL. Like a lot of schools in the US will waive it for us because we're coming from an English speaking country, but then some of them still require it, maybe because they're not aware that Nigeria is an English speaking country.
That makes sense.
So maybe I applied to like, honestly, when I was coming, I applied to like 10 different schools. So maybe I only had to send my TOEFL to like 3 of the schools.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Experience.
Currently, maybe it's because we already did our undergrad here, but I would say that currently I don't really feel that much difference. There is still a difference. You'll always feel like a small difference, but because you're already used to the culture, used to being around like kind of the same culture, you get used to it. And I don't think I see personally a big difference. Or maybe it's because I'm at Georgia Tech, which is a very like diverse school. You have like people from all different kind of background. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like Georgia Tech is very diverse. So most of the people I interact with are also international students. So it doesn't really feel too different. Maybe when I was at UTD, maybe my first year, maybe I felt out of place, but I can't even really remember just how I felt at that moment. Yeah, okay, maybe my first year, maybe like I missed home like a lot, and maybe the food was a problem. The weather, well, to be fair, I was in Texas, so the weather wasn't that bad. Yeah, it has been so long, honestly. I don't really remember.
Yeah. I mean, for myself, during my undergrad, what I can say is, especially when I got to like the junior, senior classes, and it's in Arkansas, right? So there is still international student, but not much international student doing engineering there. Most of them are doing like business or like health sciences. So most of the time I was not only like the only African in the class, but also the only Black. So maybe I can say that.
So one thing.
One thing.
Okay, I would say the food. I mean, like, to be fair, you can still get Nigerian food here. It's just not as affordable.
Sure.
So it's not as convenient too, like, because there aren't that many African restaurants around. So I'd say, like, I miss the food a lot. Maybe sometimes I miss, like, I don't know, like, just like when you're back home and, like, you're on the streets, the noise and the music, everything, sometimes I miss that.
Yeah, the food will definitely be something, even if you can make it, like you can get it, but just that like culture of being together every time, like you have not only your sister, brothers, but like cousin, like extended family. I think I mostly miss that ambience, but yeah.
Exactly.
So I would say it depends. If you're involved into research or into extracurricular activities, so like clubs, you can definitely visit like some cities. I remember during my undergrad, I went to Washington because I was member of the Society of Physics student at my school. I went to Dallas because of the Conference of Undergraduate Women in Physics. I went to Ohio because of a robotics competition. So I think whenever you're involved into extracurricular activities, research, there are definitely possibilities, but also if you want to discover on your own, you can travel and discover. I don't know what your experience has been.
I'd say like just like personality wise, I'm kind of introverted. Right, so I like to stay in my house, so I don't really move around a lot. But I also kind of relate to what Nadira is saying. Like, I'd say, yeah, like for conferences or like research, I've had to like travel. I remember I went to Orlando for this BMES conference, and then I guess like once in a while, like my friends would want to do something. So there was a trip we had to Austin. So like just different places sometimes. But most of the time, I do like to stay in my house.
You gotta make the rent work. Oh,
why do you ask us that? We're in school. We're getting our master's degree.
Honestly, I don't think so. I think education is worth it. I think you should get educated if you have the means, the strength,
The strength.
yeah, and the health.
you should definitely get some education. Even if you don't see the purpose, like right now, it will serve you along the way. You will also create a network. Like you can be smart, you can have the means, but if you don't go into education, I feel like you will miss that network opportunities because like we're at Georgia Tech, you get people from all over the world. You can network with those people. Tomorrow, you don't know what kind of company you will create, what kind of products you will need. So, I would say education is worth it.
Makes sense. Um, I'd say like it depends. Honestly, it depends on where you're going to school for. I feel like maybe more recently, like in recent years, there are certain majors that you could honestly learn all you need to learn online without actually having to be enrolled in a school. I'm not gonna mention any majors just in case other people disagree with me, but I feel like more recently, like with all the different videos online, you could probably learn a lot of things without coming to school. But I also like agree with what Nadira said. The benefit of coming to school is not just for education itself, but like you do build valuable networks and you have access to like a lot of information that you wouldn't have if you weren't within the school community. So yeah.
And also like the hands-on experience. So for us as roboticists, we're interested in robotics, and being in school is this opportunity for us to work with like those expensive robots we could have never got by ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And when you say education, I don't see just the like school side, but also like you can get educated yourself. There is no issue with that, but I still think it's important for someone to be educated.
Yeah. I only program. So, for example, like I mentioned before, I'm interested in the development of robots that, like caregiving robots or household robots. So I've worked on a project where we were concerned with, developing robots that assist people with mild cognitive impairment with finding misplaced objects. So basically just like programming the robots, having it interact with the individuals we're interested with, having it like being able to keep track of objects and be able to recall where the objects are upon request. So stuff like that. I've never actually, well, I have built a robot, but for this particular project, I'm not building any robot. I'm just programming it. Yeah.
So, for context, Tofunmi and I are in the same lab. So what she said kind of also relate to me as for experience in research. But as of building robots, I would say yes, I have experience because I'm coming from engineering physics. So I had to do like autonomous vehicle. So like build the robot from the ground up, like with the wheels, everything. Put it together, but also program it to where it can actually navigate around. So the field of robotics is huge, obviously, and it depends on what you're interested in. So if you're interested in healthcare, for example, you can go for healthcare for robots, or using robot for healthcare. Or if you're interested in AI, machine learning, you can actually program those robots. So it really depends on your interest. As a PhD student, when I received my offer from Georgia Tech, I got also like a teaching assistant stipend. So which means I get to like assist a professor in teaching and get paid like monthly. But as a PhD student, obviously, you have to do research at some point, right? So I think my teaching assistant was like valid for 1 year, and I had to find like a research advisor within that 1 year that was willing to sponsor me. But before I even got to Georgia Tech, I managed to get in contact with professors, see what research interests me, contact those professors and ask, hey, can I join your lab for this semester just to see how I like it? I really love your research. This is what I'm also interested in.
and I'll be under TA. You don't have to sponsor me, so this will just be a trial for us, and if you like my work, then you can sponsor me for next semester. So that's what I did for my first semester, and then for my second semester right now, I'm getting sponsored by my advisor. So I'm a research assistant, which means instead of teaching now, I'm doing my research for my PhD, but also for my advisor, and getting paid monthly.
Okay. Okay. So for master students, I think it's a bit different in that, like, when you get your admission offer, it doesn't necessarily come with, it does not come with, like, a scholarship or sponsorship attached to it. You kind of have to figure it out. And if you're not able to figure it out, then you wouldn't have the funding, right? So in my own case, like, Georgia Tech has two different sponsorship types, like she mentioned. There's like the graduate teaching assistantship, and then there's graduate research assistantship. I had been doing research as an undergrad, so I was able to, based off of that research experience, I had contacted another professor at Georgia Tech before I came here, and he had agreed to take me on as a graduate research assistant. So I had started out as a GRA, and then after like a year, I switched labs based off of interest. And the lab that I went to, which is Nadira's lab, there wasn't enough funding, especially because I was a master's student, right? And I only had like one more year left. So I ended up applying for a graduate teaching assistantship, which is what kind of has sponsored or is currently sponsoring my education.
I think the sponsorship also depends on your home department. So like for roboticists, so I'm a robotics student, but my home department is electrical and computer engineering, right? And the sponsorship they may give me might be different from Tofunmi home department. She's also a roboticist, but in the biomedical engineering department. So it really depends.
Thank you for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe. And comment also. And please do follow us on Instagram. The name is The Job Series. Thank you.